Thanks for tuning in to Season 2 of the Hollow Points Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And what do we do, Coach?
We accept the challenge of providing dangerous, thought-provoking, and sometimes controversial insights into life's most common topics.
Get your mind right, yeah. Get your mind right.
Hey, what's going on, sir? How you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm all right. So I wanted to get with you because something was said in the previous episode and it stuck with me. And I'm going to start it off like this. Let's just say you have a person, a life, and that life gets into a situation where they at the hospital and the machines is doing all the work, right? And the machines are doing the work for so long that you don't really feel like the quality of life is what it should be. You're just really going for quantity at that point. In your opinion, do you think about that as a determination as to why you pull the plug, or do you just keep that person on life support?
I think about that as a determination. So I think a lot of things come into play. Like, what did they ask for? What did they want?
Mm-hmm,
Are they suffering? Are they in pain?
mm-hmm,
How they want to go out? Am I just being selfish by keeping them here for my own benefit?
mm-hmm.
Or should I let them die in peace? And the belief systems and all that stuff come into play. So it's a lot of things that will go into the decision. But in my beliefs and my faith, and if it was mostly my um, uh, reasoning and thought that go behind it, I'm going to say no more suffering, no more pain, as
I,
Tupac would say.
I agree with you. And so, under that auspices, I think that most of my adult life, Black people have been suffering and been in pain. And even though 30 years ago, Jesse Jackson said, keep hope alive, we need to pull the plug on hope.
Okay,
Okay, so we need to
tell
give
me
it.
more.
Okay, I believe that this concept of desiring something, hope is the only thing that leads to disappointment. And I think that the idea for equity and equality and the hope for a better America or an America that respects and appreciates Black folks is what's leading to so much disappointment because America is a white country. America is not a combination of whatever. You come over here from somewhere else until they classify you as white, and then you get to make rules and regulations and protocols and things like that. And then anybody that's non-white physically gets infringed upon. And the sooner that we accept that, I think the better that we. But this resistance that y'all seem to have with the white folks being in charge and the white supremacy is what's causing all of this despair and all this anxiety. There's something called the Black community. Can you explain to me what is the Black community? What is the African American community?
So first, I want to address your first concern.
Okay.
Um, you told me hope.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't tell me that the machine in the ER room was picking up. You didn't tell me the blood pressure was going up. You like black people are not slaves anymore. Like there is progress and progress is being made. And then you're telling me I can see at the end of the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
but just give up. No, if there's light at the end of the tunnel, we need to run for it. But if it's still dark at the end,
Mm-hmm.
then that's when you pull the plug.
So it depends on the math that you're using because the percentage of impoverished is about the same or higher than it was 60 years ago. The percentage of unemployed is about the same or higher. Now, some of us have those good jobs that they allow for us to have and affirmative action kicked in. But every time we do something that makes it seem like we should have hope that things are getting better, they take away DEI at universities. They take away affirmative action to get you into these spots. They take away CEO roles and like they put somebody they elect Obama and say that racism is now gone. so so the fact is every time you try to do something that makes the hope seem like it's working, they take three steps back for you by changing the goalpost. And at some point in time, you got to get tired of falling for that road runner trick. You got to get tired of falling for this. This is Looney Tooney what we doing because every time we think we gonna catch the road runner, it's a trap. It's not gonna happen, and we end up falling on our face and then get mad because we fell for it again.
So the black community is the community basically majority made up of black people
Where is it?
who have it's virtual.
So where's the white community?
It's virtual
I call that America, though. Why aren't you calling the white community America?
because I should.
Okay, okay, thank you, thank you. Good,
I
good.
hear the applause.
Yes, thank you. Because that's what they call it. You've never heard a white person say the white community. You've always heard them refer to it as America.
Yeah, but if you break it down in subs, you will find in pockets um, Mexican communities,
Hmm. They call them ghettos.
Hispanic
They call them ghettos.
Hispanic
White
communities.
folks call good white folks call them ghettos.
We don't let good white folks name us what we or call us what we're supposed to be called. We call ourselves what we are. Or you don't sail over here and call us Indians. We are indigenous or whatever we want to be called. We're not what you say we are. Okay.
This is why I disagree. If you, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna say this is a real story, and I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to put him in it. But I'm gonna tell you my reaction to his story. I have a good friend. He is a brother, and he told me a story of triumph where because of his job, where he had adequate medical insurance and things like that that he had worked for, he was able to go and correct his vision through getting LASIK surgery. And he was telling me, hey, next Tuesday, I'm going to finally get LASIK surgery because I'm tired of my glasses and all this other stuff. And I was like, cool. He was like, yeah, uh, found a place. I really am excited about it. It's something I've been thinking about for a couple of years. I should have been done did it because my insurance is good for it, at a big company and everything and everything. And I'm like, cool. And if he had left it there, he could have got it done. And I would have applauded him being progressive and taking care of himself from a health perspective. And it would have been all love. Unfortunately, he couldn't shut up. So he said, yeah. And another thing is the spot that I found is the optometrist there, the doctor, the eye doctor, is a brother. I was like, oh, okay. And then all the staff is black. And I was like, nope, nope, not gonna be able to do it. Not gonna be able to do it. Nothing is appealing to me about going to a doctor's office, a dentist, anything like that with an all black staff. Why do I feel that way?
First of all, you probably couldn't live in any country in Africa.
Indeed. Can't go back.
But why do you feel that way? I feel like you've been programmed to feel that way.
Why
I
is it
feel like
wrong? Why is it wrong? Why can't my doctors are from China or Asia, some part of Asia, or from India? That's what doctors are nowadays. That's how it works, right? If you go there and everybody's Indian, you can't hardly understand them, and they write their prescription, you can't read their writing anyway. That's what doctors are nowadays. Or it might be a white male. Nurses are white females. Nurses don't have tattoos. You know what I'm saying? Nurses don't. That's not comforting for me. I need to embrace what they have programmed into me. And the last thing I want to do is go into a place and it's black owned and operated for something as serious as my eyesight.
to embrace what's been programmed into you is to reject evolution. Why do you think we should still live in caves?
The one thing I agree with you as far as the evolution, but you can't half-ass it. So you have a nice vehicle. That vehicle is manufactured at a white manufacturing company run by white CEOs. You have a wonderful home. That mortgage was secured not at a black bank, not at a Mexican bank, but that was at a predominantly white bank. Your company is a predominantly white company. Everything you're doing that matters in your life, the biggest purchases, the schools, things of that nature that you've aligned yourself with have been white owned and operated. So why are you so resistant to just making it all white?
I understand evolution. Evolution wasn't a light switch. It happened over time. I'm supporting putting my money and efforts into the evolution. I want it to happen this way, and it should happen this way. We should evolve. We don't, it's being prejudiced, assuming that this staff is not educated and trained enough to take care of your eyesight. You don't know that. Now, if you go there, or if he has sent you an email to show you what you have programmed to believe that Harvard is a good school, that
Hmm.
everyone in there was at the top of their class at Harvard, even the receptionist went to a Harvard receptionist school, would you then go?
No, I can't trust it, bro. I can't trust it. I just can't. Something's gonna go wrong, and I'm gonna think somebody lied on a resume. Something like we just have proven ourselves to be
Black people
non-trustworthy
are
in so
liars,
many areas.
and white people are not liars.
Touche, touche. Sir. The thing about it is because the majority of my investment, as it relates to major things, are non-black investments. I keep all of my major decisions non-black. That's just besides the procreation of my seed, everything else is predominantly white or foreign, right? It's just not. Think about this. Think about how much they promote the Nigerian prince scam and scheme when Russia and China got all these scams and schemes going too. But the one you hear about most is the African prince scheme. You dig? Like it's just the concept of I grew up in a situation where I just don't want no problems. And the way to not have no problems is just not to resist. You drown faster when you fight it. So if you just calm down, you'll float. And I just want for black folks to just calm down and float instead of being so resistant to this because it's making it worse for us ultimately. They getting more creative, they getting more combative, they getting more brazen in the racism because we not just allowing it to be exactly what it is. Nothing's really changing. Hope he asked 30 years ago to keep hope alive, and hope has been under attack for 30 years. Obviously, we're not going to win this one. Why can't you take the L?
You're asking to leave things the way they are, but things are not naturally the way they are. We know that if, let's say, it was two more white people left in the world,
Mhm,
can they really control the world at that point? We know the numbers are in our favor because that's why we feel when you do the analytics, we've
mhm,
been losing because of the numbers.
mhm.
The numbers are about to switch. Now what? We have an opportunity to win. If you see an opportunity, if it's zero point 0.4 seconds left on the shot clock, you got to take that shot, man.
The problem is when you corner an animal, when you cage an animal, they get more fierce. And this fear of the black planet is something that they are taking serious venom of. This in vitro shit that's going on. Now, look, when it came to abortions, they was like, "Yeah, we need to stop this, and we need to stop women from having abortions and this and that and whatever, and control their bodies and all this other stuff." But then when this in vitro thing said that you can't destroy these cells or these embryos that's not perfect or they don't have the things that you want in them, they was like, "Hold up, how you gonna tell me what to do with with my eggs? How you gonna tell me what to do with my body?" Those are the same people. They're the same. Whatever happens and is not in the white person's favor, they are going to change the voting lines. They're going to move the goalposts. They're going to change the qualifications for this job. They've done it for so long that me keep thinking this time is going to be different is insanity. You told me the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. How is this fight against white folks not insane?
It's not insane because the fight has changed over the years. You're telling me that these people hope that they stay in power and they're going to keep fighting, changing laws, doing all this stuff to
Yes.
make sure that they stay this way so they can keep their hope alive, but you telling me that I can't.
because their hope has background. Their hope has 400, 500, 600, 2,000 years of success behind it to reinforce it. They hope got the Illuminati backing them. You know what I'm saying? They hope has economics behind it. Their hope is different. I saw something recently that said, and this you can look it up if you know if you're so inclined. The globe or the map as we see it is not proportionately accurate to the actual mathematical size of the earth. Meaning, Africa is a lot larger than they make it seem. You will fight with a white person if you try to tell them that the Egyptians is Africans because they see Africa as black. You know what I'm saying? And Africa from comes from the Greek Afrique, meaning without cold. So when the Greeks got there and they was white, Italians, excuse me, European folks, and they seen all these black folks and it wasn't cold there and they named it Africa. These things are meant to diminish the size and the scope and the actual population of the continent of Africa. Africa is not an all black continent. There are white folks that live there. There are white folks that migrated there and cohabitated and things of that nature. The problem is because it's predominantly black, we see the whole continent. Think about what I'm saying. When I say Africa in America, in the United States of America, no place is not third world. No place in Africa, even Egypt. Now we might think, what is it there where they go gamble at? Morocco. Morocco was in the North French side of Africa, you know that. So that might not be as impoverished, but it ain't better than the United States. And in some places in Africa, that's way better than every place in the United States. But I'll never know that because that's not what I've been taught to believe. And they trying to be like us. I, as an American, see, this is the thing. Either I don't even like to be called African American because Africans don't respect me being African. I am just black at this point. And the reason why that is because I don't even know if the American part is valid because America is a white country.
I get you. Um, and for whatever reason, we have been programmed to think that they were better
Mhm.
because it wasn't always a white country.
Correct.
It was the evil that was brought over, and they brought people over. But this it wasn't originally white, right? It was red,
Correct. 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 But
and
historically,
and
white people
yellow.
are the only race that subserviates the other cultures and conquers and takes up like they do it on a mass scale better than anyone. They've mastered this. And what I'm trying to explain to you is because we've been playing defense for 500 years now, because we've been on the defense, what makes you think it will ever turn? Even with the numbers, sometimes technology can outdo sheer numbers. Sometimes ingenuity and money can outdo the sheer numbers. Even when it came to the slave trade, those Dutch explorers in the East Indian Company came over and incorporated black folks to go capture other black folks because they paid them off. You know what I'm saying? If you follow the
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
that's the they knew they didn't have the numbers, but they were slick about it. And I just don't think that they slickness has diminished at all. In fact, their slickness has evolved. So every time we evolve and think we get a step ahead, they just get slicker and slicker. I mean, so the concept of me hoping that they won't be as slick when I've been playing defense. I tell my kids about how to prepare when you out in these streets and how to look at a white person and how to. They're not having that speech. They have an offensive speeches. While I've been a defensive coordinator for my whole career.
So where do you think the original people came from?
I know based on science that the original people was from Africa, but then
So
go ahead.
where so were white people always in control if they weren't even the original people?
Couldn't have been.
Okay, so you don't think power can shift back and forth over the world's times?
It can,
And
but the problem with the math and what you're talking about is there's nowhere else to go on the globe. There's nowhere else to discover anyone. So as we start to spread out and you incorporate the one drop rule and we start mixing all up, That's the black planet that we're talking about because we have the dominant gene that every time you mix a little bit, you're gonna get a black person, and that's basically them's the rules. Ultimately it's going to end up being all, let's just say, mixed people, but there won't be no white people. Now damn it, they might not be black folks, but it damn sure won't be white folks. And some white folks, some like VJ Singh and some of them Indian folks is darker than us. So it's gonna be a bunch of darkies when it's all said and done because dark is the predominant. It's not the recessive gene structure. It's the predominant gene. It's the dominant gene structure. And unfortunately, because of that, we have a fear that's being propagated because I'm starting to see my numbers on paper as a white man dwindle time after time. I'm seeing that I'm having less children, and these Mexicans is coming over here, or these Indians is coming over here, and they got large families. You know, it used to be a situation where you had large families no matter where you was from, what class of society you was in. But now people getting too cute to have large families. They more selfish. And unfortunately, the personal selfishness that they have keeps them from spreading their genes and spreading their DNA. And therefore, these other folks that ain't selfish, that love big families and love for the grandma to stay with them and all that other kind of stuff, they starting to spread, and they got to be somewhere, and they gonna make it happen.
which is fine. I mean, if the world is mostly populated by a certain type of people, don't you think they should be represented and run the world?
The thing about it is, it's not a meritocracy. So what you're saying is this: the majority of the people there are the ones that should be in charge. Well, they call that corporate America, right? That the majority of the employees that are of a management level stay white, so therefore the white folks stay in charge. There's very few companies where the majority of the management level people are non-whites or are women, and the people in charge making the decisions and have the positions of influence are the opposite. It's a situation where you build yourself with people like you around you, and unfortunately, because, like I said, your major purchases that you have in your life and your major decisions revolve around what those white folks decided to do and what moves they decided to make and what strategies they set forth in their companies, what interest rates. There's never been a treasurer of the United States that was black. I don't even think, I don't know anyone in the ranks that could have been black. The people that set the interest rate and all that other stuff, these ain't black folks. These is white folks. They're making all of the moves that you make in your life are at the whim of what the white folks decided or chose to do of significance besides who you love. Anything besides who you love, white folks had a hand in it.
So it sounds like you saying they're the only people who are capable of doing that, and I disagree.
Ooh. Thus far, that's all I've seen. I can only tell you what I done
Yeah.
seen.
I don't think they're the only people capable because every time there's someone of a different background or cultural background that comes in the door, sometimes, most of the times, they seem to outshine the people who have done it before who were white.
But the problem is the difference between a star and a superstar is opportunity. You got to have plays run for you. You got to have a platform that allows for you to cook. And white folks have a platform where they support, encourage, and reinforce allowing for them to cook. When a black person gets in charge, everything is met with aggression. Everything is met with obstacles. Therefore, they're not allowed to expand and explore what they naturally can do because they're going to be snuffed out. And that's been always the way, even from the time when black folks was inventing stuff and white folks was stealing it and putting patents on it and making money off of it, to the time where they had prosperity in the 1800s, early 1900s, and white folks. Paul Mooney had a joke where he said, "Be careful about being excited or happy about something, because if white folks find out about it, they will come and take it." That is the nature. That is the nature of things, and it hasn't changed. That was Paul Mooney told that joke 30 years ago. That joke is funny today because it's true today.
You told me that that's always been the way, but then you told me that the original
Mhm.
people were brown. And we can say Egypt, but that wasn't even Egypt. That was Kemet,
I agree.
right?
Right. Right. But
So as things were coming in and renamed and taken
mhm,
over in power, you
mhm.
don't stay in power forever. You have a run. Even the Roman Empire, one of the strongest empires in history, right?
Right.
It had to fall, and after it fell, things were just fine.
Every civilization that has ever existed has fallen. That is the great thing about history. Every
Thank you.
civilization ever has fallen. My issue is this: they're not going to go down quietly. They're going to make you hurt more than they hurt. And the juice is not worth the squeeze at this point. Why are we cool or good with how far we're not getting? We might be getting strung up or jammed up in the streets. But every time a young brother gets jammed up in the streets, the first thing that I think of is what was he doing out there? I victim shame first because I've learned how to avoid some of these potholes and these traps and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, dang, how he got caught slipping. He got caught in a situation where they got him. He should have been smarter. He should have been better. But ultimately, they're looking for these opportunities to show this is why they're needed. This is why the military that is called the police needs to go in and occupy these areas. And the military, the judicial system, the banking industry is just not built for us. And why are we trying to force something that was never built for us, never intended for us to thrive? Why do we have a belief and a hope that we're going to thrive in something that's not constructed for that?
When we're constructing our future, just like we're talking about relationships,
Mhm,
we can look at grandma's and grandpa's relationship. We can look at our parents' relationships, and
mhm,
those be flawed relationships.
mhm.
But wise people know how to pull the good things out of it and leave the bullshit alone. So we can look at the good parts of it and take from it, and then have our own ideas and grow from it. It's going to fall. All good, all powerful civilizations eventually crumble.
Mhm.
And from that, it's another civilization that thrives, which will be the new people.
a, a relationship is about learning to relate, and it takes two to tango, and it takes a desire from both sides to build a positive relationship or to construct anything. It's not going to happen. Think about the fucking Israelites and the Palestinians. That shit been going on for 4,000 years because they both aren't willing to concede. White folks is not willing to share this or to concede. And so ultimately, what they're letting you know is the only way this is going to happen is from my cold, dead hands. And the one thing that we as Black folks are we are so forgiving. We are so, as Black Americans, we are so considerate and forgiving. I remember the chick said it was during the George Floyd thing. You're lucky I'm asking for uh, equality and not revenge. You lucky about the reason why we will never get reparations is because of Mexicans. Because you are keeping these Mexicans out and shooting them down and demonizing them and all of that. And if after all this time they didn't help plow your fields and do all these other things and build up this country just like we did a long time ago, and if you fool around and give us reparations, it's gonna be 20 years later. The Mexicans gonna use that same trick, that same playbook to want to get their reparations. You get what I'm saying? Because what we've been told is it's an immigration thing, not realizing or conveniently forgetting everybody here was an immigrant if you're not a Native American. Every single person came from somewhere else, but you choose to forget that your grandmother, your great grandmother, the Trumps didn't come from America. But now he's saying nobody should be able to come to America, and then these Muslims and this and this that, and it's not even a religious thing; it's a white thing. It's a white thing. And the fact is, because they have the say so's, they are creating different laws and different dynamics to keep them in the position to slow this evolution down as much as possible. So they putting as much cigarette smoke in this baby face to stunt the growth as they can. And that's something that at some point in time, you just gotta get I have gotten tired of fighting. I have gotten tired of explaining. I've gotten tired of making so many defensive calls when we were never going to win the game anyway. But you are telling me, I'm like you now, You trying to tell me that the game can be won. It just won't be in my lifetime, my kids' lifetime, their kids' lifetime. You saying basically it's a war of attrition, and eventually the numbers are going to bear out to where the majority of the bodies are going to be brown or black, and therefore, just based on numerology, there's going to be a victor at that point in time. And I'm telling you, it's going to be 18 white folks with nuclear weapons that will burn this motherfucker down before they let you have it.
That's fine. That's an acceptable fight
I don't
in the
like
black community.
that. I don't
Let's
like
burn this
that.
motherfucker up.
Nobody wins.
So
Nobody
nobody
wins
wins.
if we
But
all
Corey, I'll let
homeless.
you win. I will go out this mug kicking and screaming. That's a much more honorable way to go out than to go out peacefully. Is kicking
That,
and screaming.
that's the
And
problem
just
with us.
because
We
you
got too
won't
much.
be here, I
We
mean,
got too much pride. We got too much pride. We too much on this
it's been that
respecting.
way. Moses and Martin Luther King said, "I'm not going to get there with you, but I'm gonna put you in position. You owe it to your kids to put them in position. Like here's the baton. You can move it closer,
Mhm,
or you could win. If you
mhm.
can't, hand it off to your kids. We're going to get there just by the numbers. And defense wins championships. Are you saying they don't?
Damn, damn, damn. I didn't have no notes for that. Damn. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, shit. Well, I mean, shit. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. But I don't feel good about it. Just letting you know, as a Black American, I don't feel good about being resistant to what they trying to tell me and what they showing me and what they're exposing me to. But if it's my civic duty as a Black American to continue to hope and be resistant to this racism and this white supremacy and the way these laws is going and all this stuff they putting in my face, then I guess I just got to play my part and teach my kids their lines and let them play their parts, because eventually the play is gonna be over and it's gonna get real.
I mean, that's my point. That's what I think.
This concludes another episode of the Hollow Points Podcast, where we act as your therapeutic outlet on topics many think about but are afraid to speak on. I get your mind right, yeah. I get your mind right, yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.